Well, good morning. I'm Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. Listen, today we're breaking ground on one of the most politically convenient lies in the past 30 years. That lie is America needs illegal immigration to feed itself. They've said it so often, people are starting to believe it. But here's the truth, we don't need to import labor, we need to export excuses. Because here's the truth, because of the future of farming doesn't look like a labor camp, it looks like a robot with a camera, claw, an algorithm that can outwork 10 people without breaking a sweat. Think about it. It's the same deal with making cars. We're doing much of everything else that we do. Let's talk about it. All right. For decades, we've been told that the work is just too hard and too dirty, right? And that Americans don't want to do it. Well, it's interesting that a lot of families that look like me were migrant workers for years and years and years, uh, and followed the crops around the country and did the work, saved the money, bought the property, sent kids to college, did for years. And they were replaced or displaced not because they didn't want to do the job anymore, it's because there were people who would do it cheaper. Enter illegals. So that's been the rallying cry for opening the borders. The amnesty programs, the all the programs where we can, give them work visas, all this stuff, and the seasonal visa abuse. But that wasn't the whole story. Was that the whole story? What we told you is that America never invested in better tools because the status quo was too convenient. Let's look at the incentive. Why build a robot to pick strawberries when you can pay somebody $6 an hour or less under the table? Why automate weeding when you can just bust in labor and skip all the benefits? It was cheaper. The widespread tolerance of illegal labor created this really soft labor market where innovation was discouraged and exploitation was cheap. All right, we're going to try to meet some of the machines here because this is the part that didn't happen. And it didn't happen because labor was cheap and the labor market was soft. And as long as there was this heart of the American public for the noble illegal alien, we were not able to move on. Okay. Robots are here. Robots are here. Like I said before, they are already in every single industry. They make cars, they put phones together, the computer boards that are our TVs and monitors and computers are done by robots. People aren't, doing it by hand. Robots are doing it. And they're doing it 24/7, 365. They don't get sick. They don't need health care. They don't. They don't have labor disputes. It's great. And it just allows humans to explore, supposedly, higher endeavors. So let's look at some of these things. Like we thought, my wife and I were talking about this, that some of the fruit that needs to be picked, especially where we live, are strawberries. And strawberries are fairly delicate. But what you see on the screen now is a picture of a robotic arm gently harvesting a ripe strawberry using soft silicone fingers and with machine vision. It's got a camera. Huh? It's called the Octanen strawberry harvester. It was developed in Europe of identifying ripeness and picking fruit without damaging the plant. Again, it runs 24 hours a day. No breaks, no injuries, no lawsuits, no ice, nothing. It just runs. So in a regular strawberry field, you can only really pick during the day, right? Unless you have a bunch of lights out there, but they only normally pick during the day when it's super hot and people are bent over. And if you've ever seen it happen, it's terrible. It's like, what the hell? It's a terrible job. But the strawberry harvester doesn't care. You get 4 or 5 of them out there in the strawberry field, and it's running all the time. It's great, right? This picture hopefully is a picture of an autonomous tractor. We have autonomous vehicles already. We have autonomous vehicles already. Some of you have even been in a taxi cab that was autonomous, that you called for it and there it was, and you got in, and it took you from the hotel to the airport, right? Or back and forth, or from the airport to the hotel, right? You were in the back seat. It just took you where you needed to go. Fought through rush hour traffic. So, what makes you think that a tractor on a field without any other traffic is too hard to do? Are you serious? Are you serious? This is a John Deere autonomous tractor on the screen. It's GPS guided, artificially intelligence assisted, runs through orchards and fields without a driver. It knows where to spray and what to do to optimize fuel and how much, how fast to go to optimize the fuel that it needs. A lot of them will be electric. Some will be diesel because diesel is still more plentiful, right? And doesn't require lithium, right? So there you go. Now, this is a picture of the FarmWise Titan FT35. It's cool. It's a weeding robot. A weeding robot. Large track vehicle with cameras and mechanical arms targeting weeds. Now, how do we normally get rid of weeds? With herbicides and pesticides, with chemicals. So all the folks who are and all the folks who are talking about, like RFK Jr. and all these other people talking about there's just too many pesticides on our food and our food supply is jacked up. This is a solution to keep the weeds from taking over the plants by simply digging in the ground, picking them up, and taking them out. Doesn't take human beings. And the amount of pesticides and herbicides needed to grow our food decreases exponentially. Seems like a good idea. All right, now here's a picture of a drone flying over a lettuce field, right? With data overlay showing that what the soil moisture and plant health is. It knows. So drones like the DJI Agris can spray fertilizers with precision down to individual rows. So if you add in sensors, you've got real-time crop diagnosis from 300 feet in the air. So as it flies over areas, it knows it can take care of plants. It knows who to get, where it needs more fertilizer, where it needs whatever the soil needs, it knows. These machines are more efficient. They're environmentally friendly, which ought to be the selling point to the left. Over time, they are cheaper, not right away, because there's always the initial investment, the initial capital investment which will be expensive, but over time they're cheaper. More and more of them are being made here in the United States, and they are not subject to political games by politicians. So when someone says, we really need to close the border, what do we do about? We have things that will grow our food, pick our food, already taken care of. Technology. It's interesting that technology has taken over basically every other thing except agriculture. The most important thing. Crazy. Do you think? Two things. There's an environmental edge, and there's also, well, who's blocking this innovation? Let's talk about the green in green technology. It's interesting that when they talk about the new Green Deal, this isn't part of it. Agricultural automation isn't just about labor saving. It's actually about preserving the land. Imagine 80% less pesticide use. 80%. Imagine, especially if you're in California, where you're part of the water wars, up to 90% water conservation with sensor-driven irrigation. And if you're somebody who thinks that carbon dioxide is a pollutant, what people breathe out every day is a pollutant, what animals breathe out every day is a pollutant, what animals take in every day to grow is a pollutant, you actually have fewer CO2 emissions due to smart routing and electrification. Precision agriculture means spraying exactly where it's needed. Not this, we're just going to spray the whole damn field. We're just going to spray right where we need. Planting only what's viable, what will grow, what will thrive, and detecting disease early enough to prevent full crop loss. So, because what environmentalism means is conservatism, right? When farmers save money, they save their land, and gets Washington off their backs. Seems like a win-win-win. So who's blocking this? Because here's the part that they don't want to admit. Illegal labor didn't just fill the gap; it prevented progress. Big ag had zero incentive to innovate when political pressure made cheap labor accessible. Every year, they lobbied for visa expansions instead of investing in automation. Think about it. If every farm, especially these huge farms, had been nudged towards robotics 20 years ago, we would have a fully autonomous food chain by now. But instead, what we got is political dependency, social instability, and innovation on a 30-year delay. All right, so what do we do? Number one, in the illegal labor loophole, let the free market adjust without under the table labor. Farms will turn to machines very quickly. Offer tax credits for smart upgrades. So, because part of the pushback here will be, what about the small family farmers? And I thought, and you know what? One of the things that, frankly, when I was researching this, I thought about too. Well, we'll offer them tax credits. And what else will happen is that some of the smaller farms, family farms, will turn to crops that are more specialty crops, more niche crops that will actually end up being more profitable to them. So you won't have the small family farm trying to grow wheat or corn, strawberries even. There'll be other crops that they'll be able to grow that will be more profitable to them. There will be an adjustment. And in the meantime, you offer them tax credits for, upgrading and buying some of this equipment. Step three, you got to train the next generation. Smart ag tech programs in trade schools, community college, and high schools. We don't need field hands. We need drone pilots and sensor techs. One of the schools that I worked in, excuse me for hopping up and down, got a bad muscle in my left hip, working it out though. At one point, that school had 7 agriculture teachers. 7. I think we only had 11 math teachers. We had 7 ag teachers. And we had figured out that at some point, a full quarter of the student body had been in an agriculture class at school. So there is interest. So you have to step up those programs, and then they'll be different than they were before. They'll be different. Again, we're talking about drone pilots. We're talking about people who develop and operate sensors, not just people who are field hands. It can be different. Number 4, we're going to have to reward conservation. Create smart farm certifications and water and chemical benchmarks. You want a green policy? Make it profitable. All right. Here we go. This is how we win. Secure the borders, smarter agriculture, and American innovation leading the world again. American innovation leading the world again. Illegal immigration was never the only path forward. It is not. It was a path of least resistance. And now that resistance is costing us our sovereignty, innovation, and sustainability. Farming without foreign workers isn't a pipe dream. It's a policy choice. And the machines, they're already rolling. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. If you're tired of imported problems, it's time to export solutions. Support the show, share this episode, and if you see a robot pulling weeds, don't be scared. This is just freedom doing its job.